Let's learn IIB. Today, we will learn how you can increase throughput of your IIB application. Focus of our talk will be on a property called commit count that applies on how messages on a queue are handled by a message flow. When you add a message flow to a broker archive, in preparation for deploying it to a broker, you set additional properties that influence its runtime operation. These properties are available for review and update when you select Manage and Configure tab for the broker archive. 1. Additional instances. 2. Start additional instances when flow starts. 3. Commit count. 4. Commit interval. 5. Many other properties like this. These are the properties that you can change using the Manage and Configure tab. Let's talk about commit count. This property specifies how many WebSphere MQ input messages are processed per message flow thread before a sync point is taken. Sync point is something that you issue using an MQ CMIT command, MQ commit command. For example, with 5 MQ message flow instances and commit count of 20, there could be a total of 100, that is 20 cross 5 messages on the input queue under 5 sync points. Therefore, increasing the number of message flow instances and raising the value of commit count will increase queuing performance. The default value of 1 is also the minimum permitted value. Change this property to avoid frequent MQ commit calls. When messages are being processed quickly and the lack of an immediate commit can be tolerated by the receiving application. Use the commit interval to ensure that a commit is performed periodically when not enough messages are received to fulfill the commit count. This property has no effect in the message flow if the message flow does not process WebSphere MQ messages. Let's look at commit interval. This property specifies the maximum time interval between last MQ message being received and a sync point being taken. If no message is received in the specified time interval, a sync point is taken by issuing a MQ commit command, even if the number of messages processed does not fulfill the value of commit count property. The time interval is specified in seconds as a decimal number with a maximum of 3-digit places, that is for milliseconds. The value must be in the range of 0 through 60. The default value is 0 seconds. This property has no effect if the message flow does not process WebSphere MQ messages or if the commit count value is 1. Here is a view of the broker XML file with commit count highlighted. It is available at the message flow level. Message flow here is say hello _mf and the project is hello world v1. Refer link in description for GitHub page of this project. Knowing where the broker.xml is present and how to modify it helps you when creating bar override properties. When modifying this value, you mostly would not do it by hand. Your organization would have some sort of DevOps practice. A DevOps tool commonly used for build and deployment is Jenkins. So you will have to create multiple bar override property files, one for each environment. Having this broker.xml handy will help avoid typing errors and such silly human errors. See video description where I have demoed the use of Jenkins Groovy pipeline to build and deploy a bar file after it acquires the source code from GitHub. Now we will look at the same value from Toolkit. To improve performance, most developers will use additional instances property. They represent threads, and if you increase this number, you will most likely increase your throughput. Commit count cannot be applied as blindly as you would apply additional instances. It does not apply in many use cases, and the chances of you getting the configuration wrong are high. This is why this video focuses on this property alone of workload management. With a quiz, let's see if we understand this property, commit count. The info center says in regard to commit count that for WebSphere MQ messages, the property specifies how many input messages are processed by a message flow before a sync point is taken by issuing a MQ commit command. Now, does this mean that the complete broker transaction isn't committed until commit count is reached? For example, if I have commit count equals 50 and I have a message flow that reads from a queue and with a compute node does an insert to a database, then does this mean that my flow will have to read 50 MQ messages and do 50 of inserts before the transaction is committed? Or does the commit count release only, or the commit count relate only to the MQ aspect? If so, how does this work? The answer is MQ transaction is committed when commit count is reached or commit interval has elapsed. The default value of commit interval is 0, which means the commit count is turned off. The max value is 60 seconds. It works so that all MQ operations are included in one single MQ transaction. Commit count is at the thread level. What did we learn today? We learned that commit count can be used to improve performance. We learned what are the min and max values for commit interval. We learned how to set the value of commit count using bar override and workload management. If you found the video to be useful, subscribe to my channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Code is available in GitHub and some documentation is available in the blog post. Links in description. See you in the next video.